Hello, Graham.
Well, it's wonderful to see you. Wonderful. Yeah.
You as well. And welcome back, everyone, to Tea and Tree. I'm Faye Schmidt, and this is Graham Kerr. So, last week, I got an office chair that's a bouncy ball, and I'm going to have a really hard time staying still on this bouncy ball, but I'll try my darndest. Okay, so last week, you brought up the topic of searching for 5 remarkable things, which was a beautiful attitude to have throughout the week, especially on such a cloudy and cold weather, at least over here it is for me, kind of week. That this is usually the week in the year where my attitude kind of starts to go downhill because I'm used to having sunshine all the time and I have to get used to having it less often. So it was a really great attitude to have. Do you want to start us off with one of your 5 things?
Okay, are we going to alternate?
Sure.
And are we going to go for 5, but if we don't make it to 5, we can roll over into next week?
Sure.
Okay, it depends how much time we take. As you know, I tend to run my mouth. Okay, well, I'll start off. I got hit this week by a naked man reading a book.
What?
I told you it would be remarkable. May I introduce you to the naked man reading the book? This was on my bookcase, up really high, and it fell off onto my face. And being the obsessive compulsive fellow I am, I worked out how it had tumbled, and I reckoned that it actually cut my face with the book. So, and this was bleeding all over the place, and it looked like it needed stitches, but it's been remarkably healed in that process of time. And so that was remarkable. And the fact that it missed my eye by just over an inch I'm very grateful for. Yeah, very grateful. Yeah. Especially I got new glasses, and I paid for the new glasses, and it would have destroyed the new glasses, and I'm not sure they're insured. So there we are. There's my remarkable number 1. Your turn.
What a wonderful attitude to have about something falling on your head. I'm glad that it was minimal injury. That is indeed remarkable.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, so my number 1, not that these are particularly in order, but the first one I'll talk about because it's all around behind me, is that there are larch trees all over Montana, and they are bright yellow right now, and they look like they have little paintbrush tips, and they're just like sprinkled about everywhere I go outside, and it's so amazingly beautiful, and I love it. And in general, just like the fall colors as a whole are such a nice transition to, like, it's gonna be colder later, but at least right now it's really pretty.
Yeah.
And there's just starting to be snow on like the very top of some of the mountains around here. So there's like bright yellow colors with like snow on the tops. It's like just such a gorgeous view. This is kind of going to combine with one of my other ones. One of my good friends recently moved into town, and we went on like a really long, wonderful walk and had like a wonderful talk while we were doing that. And it was out in the mountains, and so like being out there, being able to be with a friend and being surrounded by this gorgeous view was, like you had said before, this was we were searching for remarkable things, not only to notice the things in our lives that are remarkable, but also to have that be what we're focused on more so than the like chaotic political, like semi-hopeless feeling world outside. Not that we're not paying attention to that, but that there are it's nice to notice the things that are remarkable within that. So having that in the back of my head and then going out, and it was a really nice reminder, because I have a tendency when I go hiking to just be like staring at my feet the entire time, and then I'm just looking at dirt, and you can look at dirt whenever you want, like that's not special, but having that being like, oh, I'm looking for things that are remarkable, like kept reminding me to look up and see the larches and the maples and the fall colors and trees and sounds. And It was wonderful. It was a great moment.
You have made another deposit into my life, young lady. I too look down where I'm putting my feet because as an old fellow, it's not a good idea to trip. You know, you can bounce at your age, but you don't trip, you don't bounce quite the same way when you get older. And what you just did to me was you said, you know, I spend my time looking at the dirt. And I just thought I need to see something remarkable this week, so I'm looking up. My dear one, if the world could hear you now, we spend much too much time looking at the dirt and not looking up. Dear God, please help us to look up. Oh,
I was
dear.
thinking while I was walking and thinking of the like remember to look up process. So I have 2 tattoos and they're both reminders to myself.
Yes.
They're ones that I can see. These two.
Yeah.
They're ones that I can see all the time. And one of them says joy and the other one says transcend the bullshit.
Really?
Yeah. It's an art piece from an artist called Harold Blas, who was really big in Spokane. He did a lot of statues around Spokane, and so that's part of why I have that as like a reminder of Spokane, and I think it's a really wonderful sentiment to be reminded of constantly. But I was thinking of like maybe I should get one that reminds me to look up all the time and like actually appreciate the beauty around me.
Well, there you are again. You know, if there's anybody from Congress or the Senate watching at the present moment, would be a good idea to perhaps have a Senate copy of that tattoo on your arm, so that when everybody gets elected, that they could have that automatically transferred.
I'm sure Harold Blas would be very proud.
Good. I found out, you know, I've got a small group of Zoomers, which are 8 in number. And I like 8 because the
As
French
in people
say,
on Zoom, right?
Yes, exactly.
They've started using the word Zoomer to mean Gen Z. So
I see.
In this
so
case,
people,
we're talking about the people on Zoom with you.
Thank you for getting me up to date. I'm grateful. So I had this group of 8 because in French, in France, neuf couverts est le bon couvert, which is 9 people at a dinner party, or 8 people, actually 9 because you have a random person, but the normal gathering is 8. So I wanted to have 8 people at these gatherings of Zoomers. And I looked at my plant, the umbrella plant that we talked about, and it's just shot up this new shoot for my young man in El Salvador. For people who haven't watched us before, I've named the new shoots that are coming off the plant as children that I'm able to support in some way, so, and that I can pray for. So anyway, so it comes up and oh, look, there it is. And I just count it because I'm like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going all over this darn big bush, and there's 8 leaves in every one of them, and only 7 in this new shoot.
Huh.
And I don't know to this moment, I'm sure there's somebody watching us who can tell me what's happening. That last shoot that last leaf doesn't come out until a certain amount of growth has taken place in that stand of leaves. And I don't understand it, but it filled me with the most extraordinary feeling. You know, there are all kinds of tumblings about little things emerging into big things. And this hadn't even emerged yet. And I'm watching it every day for the emergence of this new leaf to come out. I just found that remarkable. I know to most people it's he's lost his mind, but I knew that already. So that's my second one. So your turn.
I will say, I tried to bring my house plants in as props when I first got them, but it's been a little while ago now, and they're not dead. So that's a great sign. But one of them, I got it, and it had just 2 like big leaves because it just has the way the plant grows. It's just like a bunch of shoots, and then there's like leaves that are about this big on top. And it just had 2. And for a long time, there was one of them was like kind of brown and dying, and then it just kind of became one leaf for a while, and I was really worried because I had like just transplanted it and I thought it was gonna die. And then I just like thought I was overwatering it, and then I thought I was underwatering it, and I wasn't sure which one to do, because when you look up like my plant is brown, what have I done? And they're like, well, you could be overwatering or underwatering. And I'm like, well, which one is it? But somehow I figured out the right balance, and now it has like 6 leaves. It just keeps like every week there's like a new one that shoots out. So it's really satisfying to watch. That wasn't one of my things, but you reminded me of it.
Oh, how lovely that both of us are watching a live thing taking place before our eyes. Something growing and something better. That's what we want for our world, isn't it? Yeah, something
exactly.
growing and something better. Definitely.
And plants are quite remarkable as a whole. So it is nice to have that as a remarkable
So
reminder.
I have an artistic thing now. Behind me, this is my new setup. This picture that I have here was taken by Trina, and it's a little inlet that there is on Prevost Island in the Pacific Northwest, in the Canadian Gulf Islands. And it's called Annette Inlet. And this little place here is where we would drop our anchor for a little boat that we had. And it was our favorite place to go. And it's the place where I took Trina's ashes, and I dropped her ashes into this same spot. But she'd taken this photograph. Now, look at in this photograph. I'm pointing with my finger now. There is a red boulder which has wound up in the cleft of these rocks here, okay? Now, you remember several months ago, we were talking about the boulder on the road, getting our feet on it and pushing it off prayerfully. We know we can't move it, but we just believe it's going to go. I told a friend of mine that, and she actually watched this program. And she heard about that. So she wanted to, she's an abstract artist. So what she did, let's get this so that I don't get the light in the way. She actually created this picture of the boulder being shifted by prayer. Notice that it's a constriction, but it's moving, and there is a gap between the two. So this is the response of the COVID-19 virus beginning to be split and pushed out of the way in response to our prayers and everything else that is being done to be able to mitigate against it. And what was amazing about that is when you actually look at the picture and you compare it to what she has visualized, it's almost exactly identical. And
she hadn't seen this other picture?
No way. No way.
That's crazy.
This is completely out. I mean, when I saw it, I just, oh, look, I don't know where you got that from. She said, well, that's just as I saw it. Anyway, so that's remarkable, isn't it?
That's a good one.
That chills out the spine. Okay, next, yours.
Okay, I have a prop. Hold on. I need to go get it. I'll be right back.
Okay. Aren't those lovely trees? You know, I lived up in Colorado at one stage near Vail, a little place called Walcott. And we had a lot of aspens there. And I think they call them shaking aspens because there's slight wind and the whole landscape, if you could imagine these trees at the moment beginning to just rustle with the wind. That's what it was. Now, how's that for a fill-in? Oh!
He's really sleepy right now.
Oh.
I woke him up from a nap. This is Claude. He's my housemate's cat, but I cuddle with him all the time. And it's just like one of the best antidepressants is just to like see this sleepy little face on the couch all the time. And he's such a floppy little guy. He'll let you do whatever. And he never scratches you, and he's always up for a cuddle.
Oh, look at that. You're getting a kiss.
It's just like in general, like the relationship between humans and animals, it is remarkable.
Yes.
And they're always
And
like, when I'm down, they'll like do something crazy, like steal my housemate's yarn while she's knitting and like run around the house. It just always makes me smile.
and he goes so well with the larch in the background. Yeah. It's a nice color combination, and your hair as well. Yeah. Well done. That's beautiful. Bye-bye, Claude. Gosh, do you realize we've got a cat on our show, which means we have the potential for going viral?
Oh, yeah. More cats.
That would be remarkable, wouldn't it? Okay. Well, that's wonderful. Then here's mine. I went the other day to Hagen, to our local supermarket, and I went deliberately out of my way because I didn't want anything, but I have a neighbor who was sick overnight. And I had the thought that I knew that there was a Manischewitz chicken stock, chicken consomme, and it's called Jewish penicillin. And I thought, well, I should go and get a couple of cans of Jewish penicillin because she'd been really upset tummy. So I was so full of myself of just going down to get this chicken stock, and what a nice fellow I was, you know. And I slapped my pocket to get my wallet out, and it's not there. I'd driven, it's a 20-mile or just about a round trip. And no. And I hadn't got my wallet. And this gal said to me behind the counter, have you forgotten something? I said, yeah, my wallet. Oh, she says, and I said, I've got 20-mile round trip. She said, no, you don't. And she pulled out her credit card and she swiped her credit card into the machine. And she said, I think you live out at Warm Beach, don't you? And I said, yes, I do. She said, well, my sister's out there. She works in the kitchen, and her name's Vicky. And so we made the exchange, and I got Vicky the money, and so it was done. But what an amazing thing. The fact that you actually go out of your way for somebody else, and it's nothing personal at all in this, just being nice or kind, whatever that is. And then somebody else is kind on to you. And for me, it was just a little pat on my head, like, good little boy, you know. It was just seemed so remarkable, and I was so grateful for that.
That's wonderful.
Okay, your turn. Yep.
Hold on, I need to let Claude out. He's scratching at the door now.
Okay. I think this is so wonderful. When animals are actually on a program, you have to make way for that. On my first ever, I'm just talking to our family members, on the Tonight Show, the director said to me behind the curtain before you go on, he said, walk a little bit out. It was an English fellow. Out of the way, don't move straight to Johnny's desk because the elephant just urinated on the set. There was a baby elephant there and it had done a little pee. So I had to walk around the pee, you know. That has a way of stopping your nerves about meeting Johnny for the first time.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, so that was remarkable, but I've been waiting for yours. Yeah.
So this morning, so this past week, at least a week, potentially more, it has been very overcast, and the whole world starts to feel a little bit smaller. And some of that's really cozy. I've been drinking lots of tea and hot cocoa, and it's wearing fuzzy socks, and that part's nice, but it is very enclosed. And you don't really realize all the time the pressure that has in the background of your mind. And this morning, the clouds just disappeared and there was blue sky again. And I remembered what blue sky looked like after so long, a week, after so long in the fog. But it was so beautiful, especially with that attitude of really emphasizing the remarkable things. With that attitude, it was just so much more wonderful than it was when it was a blue sky all summer long like this. I hadn't had it for a while, and then I saw it again and it was wonderful, and it's gone again now. But it was such like I just stood next to my window and stared up at the blue for like 20 minutes to really soak in the lack of clouds for a little bit.
I think that's wonderful. Well, I left my controversial one to the end so that I thought, well, we don't have any time for it. Is that right? So I get you finish off, my dear, and I've got an idea for us but then you might have as well, and I will back down and let you go first if you have.
Okay. So I think that I accidentally combined two of mine earlier, but one of them, along with seeing the fall colors, was being able to like have that time with a good friend, have a long, uninterrupted conversation like throughout that time. So just being able to reconnect and just connect in general with good friends is always a remarkable experience.
Well done, my dear. I just love that trip through your week. It was really special. And I liked it through my week as well. Yeah, that's looking for good.
This is not exactly the first time we've done this prompt. I think 3 or 4, 5, however many episodes ago, we had one where we were looking for like stories of someone doing something good.
Yes.
Which was, again, like one of my favorite attitudes to have throughout the week. And I think that that's just something so special and remarkable to constantly be reminded of, is like looking outward, finding these little bits, like whether it's, and I feel like this has been sprinkled a lot throughout our show, actually. There's been times when we're like looking for things that give us joy. We're looking for things that other people do that we think are good for the world. We're looking for things that are remarkable. We're like, this has come up again and again. And I feel like that's such a good theme to have, and a good attitude to make a part of your life. Like look outward for the positive and the resilience and
And I was just thinking, as you were saying that, when we look at the news, it's substantially, they're flicking a coin and it comes down tails. It's listen to what's bad this week. Listen to who did what to whom. But what we're doing is it comes down heads and says, look at what happened this week. Wasn't that better? May you come down heads.
Okay. So technically last week was your turn. So officially this week is my turn. And I have this word written down called opportunity, because this whole program started by like, you had beautiful minuets of your life that you wanted to share with people on YouTube. And I was brought in for like the technical side to like help you post videos on YouTube and do some graphics and stuff. Throughout like 2 phone call conversations, it turned into you and me being co-hosts on this crazy like Tea at 3 adventure. And so I was just thinking about how like I honestly don't even know why I said yes. More so it was because I didn't want to say no. Like it seemed like something that could be crazy and wild and good, but it was really nerve-wracking at first to be like, I'm hosting a show with Graham Kerr. Like that's crazy. But it has become such this wonderful, good thing. And throughout this episode, talking about those like, and last episode too, when we were looking back and remembering like old good habits. And so having this attitude of looking at the things in our life that are good, whether that's like in the present, in the past, going into the future, it's wonderful. And I think that instead of thinking about the word opportunity, as is in my wonderfully specific notes, I think that for this next week, we could think again on 5 remarkable things, maybe this time not from this week, but like 5 standout things from the past.
And as we've always done, I think we ebb and flow rather nicely. So I agree with you. I'd like to suggest that of the 5, we do have one at least, which is current, because I want to keep on having my eyes and ears open for good. There's so much of it coming down tails. I just want to see when it comes down heads, I want to make a note of it. And I want to be able to share it. And I would love it if our friends who watch us would also be looking for that coin to come down heads.
If you have a little nugget of something remarkable that has happened in your week or in your life, please leave it down below and share with us, because sharing that with other people makes it even more remarkable. Like, I am getting joy from hearing stories about Graham, and he's getting joy from like remembering and living those stories. And so like it spreads around and has that ripple effect. And so please leave those comments down below. So one more semi-big thing is that this is our second to last episode of season 2. And so far we have been funded by the film that is being created about Graham's history and life. I believe it's still called Galloping Upstream, or the GK film. I'm not, it's a title is work in progress, but that's what we have been funded on so far for the first and second seasons. And we will be hoping to move forward into a third season after this, because this is just a wonderful experience. And perhaps that will be something where we continue to be looking outwards for these remarkable things and coming back and discussing those with each other, to have those moments of joy in our lives and to have that attitude of looking outwards. And so if this is something that you have, if this program is something that you have really gotten something out of, really meant something to you, please reach out to us if you are interested in supporting this program's future. We have been looking out for more funding for this program to continue, and we really want it to happen, and we're going to work really hard to make it happen, because this is such a wonderful opportunity for the both of us, and hopefully for you as well. So again, so next week, we will be thinking about 5 remarkable things, one of which at least is from this next week, and the other 4 can be remarkable moments thinking throughout your past that really stand out. So we will come back next week and talk about those. This has been Tea at 3. Thank you so much for watching. I am Faye Schmidt. This is Graham Care, and we will see you next week. One more little thing that really helps us out is if you subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed watching. That lets YouTube know that people like it and shows it to more people, and more people will get to watch. So please do that. Thanks.